Alright, good morning guys, and it's another day of dash cam adventures. Let's see what the day holds in store. First things first, breakfast. Off we go. Alright guys, after breakfast at Denny's, I should have gone back to Perkins. Never in my entire 50 some odd years of my life have I ever walked into a restaurant and seen a waiter waiting on tables with a toothpick in his mouth. So I don't think I will be back to this Denny's. Alright, let's go. We're off. Alright guys, we're going to try this one more time for the train. Stand by.
Do sit with whomever you came with so everybody else can do the same. You have your seats facing, make sure there's 4 people in those seats. Now my name is Colleen, I'm your host along with Jim in the box. You'll see what I mean about that. Today your engineer is Scott, his fireman is Caesar, our conductor is Joe, and the brakeman is Thomas. Also on board the train we have a couple concession sellers. We have Madison and Nadia. They'll come through once we get to the top of the hill, see if they can offer you any refreshments. Now the seats should all be facing the right way. The engine's in the front. So that's the way they should be. That is the direction we do have to go. The rail ends behind us right at the highway. Our 10-mile spur was put in to go to Keystone for one reason only. And no, it wasn't for us, it was for mining purposes. To get the ore from many mines between Hill City and Keystone, bring it back here to Hill City and ship it out on the main line. Main line went from Hill City south to Edgemont, Hill City north to Deadwood. The line between Deadwood and Edgemont, as well as our 10-mile spur, they were abandoned by Burlington Northern back in the late 1980s. They've taken up the rail between Deadwood and Edgemont and turned it into a nice hiking, biking trail. It's called the Mickelson Trail. It's named after our late governor, George Mickelson. Really quite nice because you're right on the rail bed. But it does leave us here kind of orphaned. You can go to Keystone and back and Keystone and back. And that's what we do. We're the only train on the track. We don't have to worry about anybody else.
Yes, we are. You better hold on. Bring this so fast. It's blowing your mind.
Standard gauge means the measurement between the rail. If you're sitting on the right-hand side, you can see those rails. That measurement in between is 4 foot 8.5. That's what we're traveling on. That's standard gauge measurement. Also on board the train today, we have Cheryl. Cheryl's have captured memories. Now Cheryl is aboard this train to offer you a very unique souvenir. What Cheryl does is take a photo of you, superimposes that image right in front of the 1880 train and also in front of Mount Rushmore. And it can be one person, two person, your whole family. You can ask her. What a great way to remember your vacation here in the Black Hills and the ride on the 1880 train. Then with that captured memory from Cheryl. Now it's Mount Rushmore and the locomotive that we're using today, big engine number 110. She does have a sample of what I'm talking about, so you can actually see what I'm talking about. The sample. Cheryl started at the back of the train, worked her way to the front. Cheryl from Captured Memories. Now that's a brake test. Make sure our brakes are working properly. We are using number 110. 110 is a 1928 Baldwin locomotive. It's an oil-fired, articulated, compound Mallet. Its wheel arrangement is 2-6-6-2, 2 small pony wheels, 6 drivers, 2 small pony wheels. That's articulated to go around mountain curves. It's a split saddle tank. Back in 1928, the oil that they used was recycled, no, you used recycled. It was bunker oil like a ship. Not many ships right here, so we use recycled motor oil. They were filling it up with water, that's in the split saddle tanks. We use about 2,000 gallons of water on a 20-mile round trip. How much oil? 200 gallons. Now up in the engine, our engineer, Scott, he's in charge of speed and direction of our train. The fireman's job is to keep the fire going, so the pressure gauge will be up to about 200 pounds of boiler pressure, so the engineer does have throttle and brakes. The engine itself weighs about 222,000 pounds, and it's very capable of pulling the 7 cars we have on the train today. So that's the big engine we're using. As we go out of the train yard, I'll talk about that in a minute. We have safety announcements for our train ride. There's absolutely no smoking of any kind allowed on our choo-choo. None of that newfangled EV or whatever it is. There's no smoking allowed on the choo-choo. Except for the engine, and it does smoke, and it will. Windows, it's up to you. Now, the names of your cars are by the doorways. If you are in Everett, Gillette, Orville, or Keystone, there's a pinchy thing on the right. You can pinch it together, pull it up with a handle in the middle. Give it a shake, make sure it's in a groove. Give it a good shake, otherwise they come down pretty quick. If you're in Bluebird, they just unlock and open like a house window. The other cars, no windows, so you don't have to worry about that. Clear view, and they don't come down. Speaking of the windows though, please do not hang out the windows or over the railings. We come rather close to trees and rocks. We don't want you to get hurt. And if you happen to drop something, anything, camera, caps, coats, kids, glasses, cell phones, dentures, iPods, little raccoon hats, we don't stop and pick anything up. So do keep yourself and your stuff inside the train, please. Most importantly, once we get moving on our train ride, you are not. It is dangerous. We ask that you just don't. That means there is no standing, no going seat to seat, no standing in the aisle, anything. I like you to pretend like you are super glued stuck right in your seat. And that glue becomes active once we move. So there's no moving. If you need help with anything, you can ask the conductor, the brakeman, or concession sellers. They'll be happy to help you out. Little ones will have to be sitting on their own bottoms of the seat or on your laps. If they're in the aisle and we stop settling for who knows what, they're the first thing to fly. So we don't want anyone getting hurt. That wouldn't be any fun on the choo-choo. Now, you might have room to put your feet up on a seat ahead of you. Nobody's in that seat. You just push the back and it moves. Except honey candy, you got to pick it up, flip it around. And you can put your feet up. If it's a wooden seat, just put them up. If it's upholstered, though, we ask that you slip your shoes off or slip something under them. No shoes on the upholstered seats, please. Trying to keep them nice for future passengers. That's a safety announcement. That's all I can think of. It's a pretty morning for a train ride. It looks like the sun might be coming out. I don't want to talk about it too much. It might hide again. We should see animals. We should see deer, turkeys, woodchucks, geese, ducks. They all have their little ones, so if you see a big one, watch for the babies. You never know where you're going to see anything. They're wild animals, so if you see something, point it out to the folks right around you so they can see it also. I'm talking from the middle train car, so I don't normally point out animals because half of you will miss them anyway. As soon as everybody gets seated, we're going to be on our way. What happens is the conductor says all aboard, he signals the engineer, and we go. Everybody's ready? New folks aboard, welcome aboard. The short, quick safety announcements, no moving, no smoking, and no hanging out the window. It's the only nose I know. All aboard from the conductor. If you want to know who's in charge, it's the conductor. Now people are going to wave at us as we go along. Do wave back at them. We're a very friendly choo-choo here. But as I was saying before, as we leave station on the right-hand side, you can see the roundhouse. Yep, it's a square brown building on the right. So we do maintenance and repair on engines and cars. You see diesel number 63 out there, the 1956 GT9. And on the left, as you go out of the train yard, you'll see engine number 7. It's a 1919 Malden locomotive. It's originally coal-fired, converted to oil, so we can use it on this line. All 3 of our steam engines are oil-fired. Coal and wood, outlawed in the Blackhills. Clear back in the 1930s, starts fires. So we're using steam, we're burning oil. Okay. They'll be coming through shortly here, gathering up tickets.
Once again, welcome on board 1880. As the train pulls out of the station, look around at the granite peak, big ponderosa pine forests that surround you. Although the Blackhills were supposed to be the protected territory of the Lakota and Cheyenne Indians off limits with white settlers, an army expedition led by George Custer turned up gold a few miles south of here in 1874. Within months, there were thousands of faceless miners swarming across the This is the best attraction to spend time with family and friends while enjoying the Blackhills, just like the early pioneers, miners, and settlers did when they discovered the West.
Now that's road crossing number 1. We cross the road 20 times one way without whistle. 2 longs, a short, and a long. So 19 more to go.
Our journey. Black and white markers are milepost signs, and the red and black markers indicate a point of interest. Be on the lookout for these signs as we travel over Keystone. The 1880 train goes north, then turns east up Tin Mill Hill, so named because it used to be processed at facilities erected here by the Hardy Tea Company. The rate of the track deviated from 4 to 6%, making this one of the steepest railroads in the United States. This puts considerable strain on the locomotive, and the engineer usually takes this opportunity to blow sand through the locomotive boiler tube to cleanse the soot from it.
Actually, the firemen, when they get to clean those flues, it's white sand right in the firebox. The sand runs around through the flues and comes up the stack black. This happens right after the next road crossing. Folks that have their window open or don't have a window, and if you're feeling lucky today, you might get a few grains of that black sand to land on you. Yes, you may keep it. It is free. We don't charge for it. It's not hot. It doesn't hurt you. It's just black souvenir sand. Brushes off. Over here on the left, Spring Creek. It's kind of in its banks now. As you go along the park, you're going to notice that where it covered the whole entire park over here on the left. The ball fields, the volleyball nets, clear up the playground equipment. It was clear across. So we were calling it our water park.
The Blackhills cover more than 2 million acres, an area roughly the size of Delaware. Half of that is the Blackhills National Forest. The entire mountain range spans about 120 miles from the southern tip to the north and about 60 miles east to west. Hill City is almost at the exact center. Founded as a mining camp in 1875, Hill City was one of the first settlements in the Black Hills. It boomed in the 1880s as the headquarters for a massive tin mining and manufacturing company, and later as a junction point for the railroad to Deadwood. During and after World War II, lithium was mined south of town and was used in nuclear power plants across the country. The lumber industry still thrives here, and thanks to the completion of Mount Rushmore in 1941, so does tourism. Mount Rushmore, which lies only 9 miles southeast, attracts 3 million visitors annually. Many of them pass through Hill City. In fact, many of the town's 780 residents are employed in a tourism-related business. Nowhere is this more apparent than on Main Street, where you will find a number of restaurants, hotels, small retailers, and a thriving art gallery district. If you haven't already walked this charming small-town shopping area, be sure to visit when you return.
Now Jim the Box is just not up with the times. We have about 950 people in Hill City. Not 7, whatever he said. No, grown. This is a 4 to 6% grade. Very steep for standard gauge rail. And we're not even near halfway up yet. Keep those positive thoughts. Oh, it did rain last night, so the rail is probably wet. Plus, our ponderosa pine trees are doing something they do every year at this time. They are pollinating. So when you have pollen and wet, what do you get? Slime. Makes it kind of slippery. Our concession sellers will come through once we get to the top of the hill. They will be coming. Now keep a lookout for the wildlife. We see them sometimes on the upside and the downside. Sometimes they're right close to the track, especially the deer. Like I said, they do have no little one. The engine has just flown over his driveway, and as he is, we're just about halfway up the hill. This is the steepest part. We've gone up in elevation 200 feet from Hill City Station. Level out and start down to Keystone. Go down in elevation, about 800 feet. Hopefully it gets out of the clouds. On arrival, you're traveling through national forest and private land. This is national forest. In the Blackhills, and the reason for the name, Blackhills. If you get a chance to take one of the long needles, you can roll it in your fingertips. One edge of the needle is black. That black side absorbs light, therefore the hills appear dark in the distance. Just because of the needle on the ponderosa pine tree. They're the ones that are pollinating right now. If you look at the tips of the branches, you see those small kind of gold things pointing, looks like a finger sticking up. That's the new growth for this year, and they call these candles. So that's the new growth for this season. I also noticed the wild roses are blooming. Kind of a hot pink, single-petaled rose, very fragrant. And the irises, they're a pale lavender, about a foot high. The heads of the iris, the blossoms are about half as big as the garden variety, but you'll notice them. water. That yellowy junk, yeah, that's the pollen. The tall purple flowers on either side of the track are called Dame's Rocket, D-A-M-E-S Rocket. They're nicknamed Prairie Lilac. They smell like a lilac. And you usually find them around the prairie homesteads. Right there. They're actually a wild flock. Very fragrant, very pretty. Pretty quick on the right hand side, there's a pretty yellow house. There's a very tall fence all the way around their yard. What are those guys keeping out? You probably guessed it. They have a lot of flowers, a huge garden. They got tired of doing the little chicken wire thing around everything, so they just fence the whole yard to keep the deer out. Works really well for them as long as they remember to shut that big gate. On the right-hand side of the train, you see the tall poles standing straight up, crookedy wires hanging down. The telegraph line put in for communication between Hill City and Keystone. Some of them still do have the glass insulators on the top. Was put in for mining purposes, so those are some mining communities. We'll be coming into one here shortly. Back to the telegraph line, their communication would have been Morse code. Well, we get to use Morse code every time we cross the road for the letter Q. Too long, short, and long. This does go back to British nautical days when the Queen was on board ship. They would sound that whistle in the harbor, so she would have the right of way. Trains adopted it, so we have the right of way. Letter Q in Morse code. Notice how there's some piles of brush with branches and stuff that kind of textiles. You probably noticed that if you're driving on the hill. The brush is piled that way so that will dry out, and in the winter wind it will have enough brush pile will be burned. Now where it's chunked up in length of a foot, so when it looks like firewood, it is firewood. Folks have just put it up there. So that's the side of that. And then where you see it just laying down, a lot of these trees are dead, and they're dead because of a nasty little beetle called the mountain pine beetle. You see him down? Probably because of that mountain pine beetle. And if you notice, standing trees are red beetles. So our trees have been having a bit of an issue. These whitebark trees we see are virgin apple trees. Now this is private land we're going through, so they've been trying to clean up their forest floor. A lot of trees down, a lot of work. But over to the right, they started to chip some of them and made this huge wood chip pile, a lot of mulch. On the left of the draw, there's a log building and a board building. One has a roof, one does not. Part of this mining community. And coming up on the right, you're going to see a two-story gray house. The miners used it as a school, store, bar, hospital, whatever they need to use it for at the time. And this little mining community is called Kennedyville.
Hill 800 feet below the Earth's surface, very little tin was actually found at this mine. Addy Camp was located at the mouth of Palmer Gulch, Huron, Italy. A number of small placer mining operations existed here in 1875, and the ruins of some larger industrial mines dating to the 1930s are found on the Northwest Ridge, which is off to your left. Mining production records show that in 75 years between 1876 and 1951, $666 million worth of valuables were taken out of the Black Hills. Most value was in gold, taconite, minerals, and silver. Others were gypsum, limestone, lime, tungsten, pyrite, arsenic, lead, zinc, and copper.
Now you do see the homes along the way. You can see some older land here in the Black Hills. Private land came about mostly because of the miners. The miners came in and staked their claim, and they had private land. Bigger parcels of land because of the Homestead Act. So in the Black Hills, it averages out to about 10% of the land is privately owned and 90% is not. And yes, there's a lot of private along our route because it was put in for mining purposes, and these would have been mining claims. Coming up on the left, you see a two-story. You see a wooden building. It's over there to the left. The one lone pine tree, concrete footings coming out this way towards the track. That's the site of the Good Luck tungsten mine. Tungsten is mined to harden steel. That mine was used during World War I and World War II. We'll be coming into Palmer Gulch. We'll see if Harney Peak out of the cloud. It'll be to our right.
by Harney Peak, a large mountain with a stone fire lookout on top. At 7,242 feet, Harney Peak is the highest point in the Black Hills and tallest mountain in North America east of the Rockies. Although the Black Hills are only 130 miles away from the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains, they are completely separate formations. They can completely get different from what you see around here, much older than the slopes.
Still in the clouds. Well, maybe I'll have my back. Can only hope. Empty room, you can see those piles of brush piles underneath the top. Piled up this way. Yep, we're almost to Oblivion.
Oblivion was the original destination for the Canadian train. This spot, named Oblivion by early settlers, was originally a logging camp that served mining operations throughout Palmer Gulch. The spur you see leading off to your right was an elaborate system built in the 1950s to handle both narrow and standard gauge trains. The Oblivion area was later used as one of the sets for the movie The Orphan Train.
So you might have noticed the narrow gauge Y on the right-hand side. That's there because the first church train back in 1957 did have narrow gauge equipment. To accommodate that equipment was worn on 4'8.5" standard gauge. They had to put a third rail between the two traveling on that ride, but it was close to Oblivion back for about 5 years. Then they got standard gauge equipment and they could ride right on into Keystone. Oblivion's about halfway. We'll get up there and level out. It's definitely downhill now the rest of the way to Keystone. The next place we get to here is Rick Mills. Rick Mills is the curator of the South Dakota State Railroad Museum, located in our train yard in Hill City. Rick's the author of many railroad books around South Dakota and the Blackhills, and Rick always likes to talk to us about the train.
What is it that fascinates us about trains? Hi, this is Rick Mills, and I share that interest in railroads with many of you. Did you grow up watching trains roll by like I did? Did you wonder where the people were traveling to on those passenger trains? I am sure that you counted the cars on one freight train as it rolled by, and wondered what was being hauled in the various cars. The railroads are a shared experience for us as Americans. Here in the Black Hills region, the railroads were the major catalyst for settlement, business, growth, and tourism over the past 125 years. The railroads brought my great-great-grandfather and his family from Stead east of here along Lower Battle Creek near Hermosa over a century ago. Many of our families share a similar story of homesteading in the West and riding on the rails. The trains hauled us to our new homes, many tons of gold ore to the mill, goods from the catalog houses of the East, thousands of head of cattle to market, and even the dynamite over these very rails to Keystone to help fire Mount Rushmore. If you would like to learn more about the history of the railroads in the Black Hills, please ask your train host or hostess about the 1880 train guidebook for complete reference to your trip on the 1880 train. After your ride on the train, visit the gift shops at either the Hill City or Keystone depots for more history books and gifts related to our common American experience, the railroad. The romance of the rails and its sense of adventure and nostalgia still attracts folks like yourselves to the Black Hills. These days it is to explore the Black Hills on this grand old train, the famous 1880 train.
Now over to the right in the distance, you should be able to see Elkhorn Mountain. It's 6,200 foot, 1,000 foot shorter than Harney Peak and not in the clouds. We're coming into the pleasant open meadow. Now Rick Mills just spoke about a great little book that we do have on the train here for sale. It's called All Aboard the 1880 Train Guidebook. It's 36 pages of information all about this train, the cars, the engines, the history of the Black Hills Central Railroad. There's a map on the back inside cover that follows our rail trail. Pages preceding the map talk about everything I and Jim in the box talk about, plus the pictures. It's an excellent little book. It is just $5. Joe, our conductor, will starting in front of the train, work his way to the back. If you'd like to have this book, just stop Joe. He'll be happy to sell you one. All Aboard the 1880 Train Guidebook. We're coming into the pleasant open meadow. It's Conductor Joe. So once you get your book from him, if you'd like to have him autograph it for you, ask him nicely and he'll be happy to do that. We're in the pleasant open meadow. It's nicknamed Leaky Valley. Many natural springs in this meadow all come together at the end of it and they form Battle Creek, which we go over and beside on the way down. As you hear from the rocks, you normally do see woodchucks, reddish brown animal low to the ground, the dark face scurrying about. Watch for them. And now Jim of the Box is going to tell us about our rolling stuff.
An assortment of vintage rolling stock from numerous railroads around the country has been assembled at the 1880 train. An interesting combination of locomotives, passenger, freight, and maintenance cars have called Hill City home since the 1950s. There are 3 operating steam locomotives at the 1880 train. The first is engine number 7. It is a 262 with tender built by Baldwin Locomotive Works for the Ozan-Graysonia Lumber Company in 1919. The locomotive was sold to and operated by the Cato and Choctaw Railroad several years later. The 7 was then sold to the Prescott and Northwestern in northern Arkansas in 1938 and was acquired by the Blackhills Central Railroad in 1962. Engine number 7 holds 1,000 gallons of recycled oil and a whopping 4,000 gallons of water. Next is engine 104. 262T tank engine that was built by Baldwin Locomotive Works in 1926 for the Silver Falls Timber Company in Oregon and the Peninsula Terminal Railroads in Portland, Oregon. The Blackhills Central Railroad acquired 104 and its twin 103 in 1965. The 104 has been in continuous service over the years. 103 is currently in storage awaiting restoration. Engine 104 holds 1,600 gallons of water and can carry 750 gallons of recycled oil. The last engine on the roster is number 110. It's a 2662T compound articulated Mallet, built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works in 1928 for the Weyerhaeuser Lumber Company of Vail, Washington. It's next stop was the Rayonier Lumber Company, where it received a tender from Rayonier 101, and then the engine was retired in 1968. The engine was later displayed at the Wasatch Mountain Railway in Heber City, Utah, and then sold to Nevada State Railway Museum. The number 110 was sold to Blackhills Central Railroad in 1999. It was trucked from Nevada to South Dakota on 4 semi-trailers. Restoration of the engine by the mechanical crew of the BHC was completed in the spring of 2001.
And that's the big engine that's pulling us right now, engine number 110. We also have the Diesel 63 and 1956 GP9. We got this engine back in 2006 in Lordville, Minnesota. And we're at the end of the meadow. go along here over on the left-hand side, the tall granite cliff. Well, granite is that rock. Tall rock cliffs over there on the left. And this granite is actually named Harney. All the tall peaks in the center of Black Hill, this type of rock. Harney granite, so that would be Harney Peak. Elmore Mountain, Mount Rushmore, Crazy Horse, the Needles, all the same type of rock. Harney granite.
$5, please. Thank you. Appreciate it. Autograph, please. You bet.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. See the guidebook? Yeah, we get 4.
Road that we do cross most of the time. Well, it's County Road 323. The route sign marker does say Old Hill City Road. It goes right out of Hill City, into Keystone, up the stoplight, by the depot, just where we're going. County Road 323. If you're leaving from Hill City, it's right at the Holiday Inn Express. As you go on down the canyon, we got trees over here on the right. Over to the right, you can see Old Baldy Mountain, 5,500 foot. On the left-hand side, look out your window. Look out to the left, and what are you going to get? Rocks. Little rocks, big rocks, really tall rocks, though. You can look up and see the trees and shrubs growing right out of that rock. If you're sitting on the left, you look up ahead, you see our engine right there. Ahead of the engine is a trestle. Trestle is a train bridge. We go to quite a few. You can kind of see that one. But as we go over the trestle, to the left, high on top of the rock hill, there's a tall wooden cross. The wooden cross is put up by the church camp, which will be at our right of the next road crossing. Going down the canyon. What was that? Well, that's called a blowdown. They're blowing down the boiler. That means the boiler had a bunch of gunk in the bottom of it, and in order to get it out, you have to blow it down, blow it out. It's called a blowdown. And it's not hot once it comes out of there. Once it's out about a foot, it cools right off. So I think the foliage likes it pretty well. On the left-hand side, as we go along, you should be able to see the Battle Creek waterfall. I know it's not big compared to some people's waterfalls, but for us it's pretty good size. Sometimes in August we end up calling it the Battle Creek Water Drip. So, it's good.
See ya.
Get to go over another trestle. This is a little taller than the last one. Not extreme, but a little bit taller. If you're sitting on the right-hand side, you'll be able to see Pine Creek. It joins Battle Creek right under our trestle. And finally, the water is going under the bridge, not over it, for these folks on the left. You can see that bridge. Now into here you can see the trees right up close. I talked about the long needle pine tree, the ponderosa pine. This short needle evergreen that you do see, it's the Blackhills spruce. It's our state tree. It has short, sharp, square spruce needles. On the tips of the branches is a lighter shade of green. That's the new growth for this season. The white bark trees, birch and aspen. Aspen trees have the white, tight bark. Look like they're standing alone above ground. Birch trees have the white peeling bark, and they're in a bunch at the base. There's elm, ash, cottonwood, all kinds of willows in the creek, so I just call them all creek willows. The oak tree that you see is a fir oak native to the area. Now there's some of the blossoms just kind of hanging down. Those are choke cherry. The sarvis berry, they are already making their berries, is a wild gooseberry. We also have wild plum, pin cherry. In season we have currant bushes, gooseberry bushes, raspberries, strawberries up the ground. Trees are too tall. There are a lot of mines between Hill City and Keystone. We just can't see them from the rail. right, high on top of that hill, you should be able to see the white sparkly rock up there. That rock is quartz, feldspar, and mica. At the edge of a mine, you can kind of see from the rail called the sand patch mine. It's up there on the right. There are a lot of mines between Hill City and Keystone. We just can't see them from the rail.
Caused by more than 1 million metric tons of water falling from the Blackhills within a matter of hours, the 1972 flood washed away hundreds of homes and businesses built along area creeks, making it one of the most expensive and deadly floods in American history. The waters washed away the tracks from this point on into Keystone proper. Off to your right, in the shadow of 5,500-foot-high Old Baldy Mountain, is the community of Lafferty Gulch. It was once a company town for the workers in a big feldspar quarry. It is now a group of summer homes.
Now we're going to Keystone Junction. You'll notice the side track was on the right-hand side, and that's the side you're sitting on. This is as far as Burlington Northern rebuilt the tracks after the flood of 1972, so we could only go this far until 2001. 2001, Blackhills Central Railroad put in the rest of the rail back to Keystone Town. Request get to go through a big cut in the rock up here that's originally to the rail. Did not get washed out in that flood. Very, very steep on both sides. Now, rail did start out in Hill City in 1889. Started Keystone January 20th, 1900. That long. Of course, back then they did not have the modern equipment that we have nowadays. It's mules, wagons, Fresnos, shovel, a lot of manpower. And dynamite, of course. They moved an awful lot of rock. Oh, that's about tunnel. This rock isn't the right kind of rock. No, it's right here. So we just blasted it on through. Uncouple from us, go up and fill up with water, and then he's going to couple up at the other end. So what is now the front of the train is going to become the back. The back is going to become the front, and the middle is right here in the middle. We don't move train cars, so nobody has to ride backwards. There's a handle on the back of your seat, the aisle side on the back top, that brass handle, you pull, and the seat backwards the other way. Nobody has to be backwards unless you want to be. You're here at station for 15 minutes. So if you'd like to get off the train, you may. If you don't want to, you don't have to. If you'd like to, you may. We are going to board more passengers. The only way you can save a seat on this train, if you have that special spot you want to sit in, is to leave a person behind in the seat. To become a seat-saving person, do not leave your belongings lying there because they may not be there when you get back. So if you have that special spot, leave a person behind to save those seats. We're here just 15 minutes, long enough for the engine to do all that. Board more passengers. If anybody only gets to go one way with us this morning, thank you so much for riding our train. This morning, hope you had a great time. Enjoyed yourself. Have fun on the rest of your visit here in the hills. Now, getting off the train here in Keystone is a whole lot different than getting on in Hill City. We can only get off from the front two cars on the right-hand side. There are aluminum ramps that flip out onto a concrete platform for the front two cars. That would be the black car and the liver car. The other 5 cars, you got to walk down to the center aisle till you get to a ramp on the right-hand side. Chains are all up for a reason. Don't cross the chain anywhere, leave them alone. Be careful walking between the cars. So if you're not getting off the train, kind of hang tight in your seat till the aisle clears. It's a one-way track. You will have plenty of time to change sides, change seats, whatever, once the aisle clears. But 5 cars have to get off the train. And we are going to board a lot more passengers. We're going to fill up this train. So if you are kind of spread out, we do ask that everybody do sit to the seat on the way back, whoever you came with, because that's how those ticket people like to sell those tickets. To the seat. Now the ramps, the flippers that flip out onto the concrete platform, they have lips on either side of them, about 2 inches high. I call them flipper lips. You don't want to be tripping on a flipper lip, so walk straight off, no cutting corners. Careful. Stay seated. I'll let you know when it's okay to get up. Remember, if you're not getting up, hang tight in your seat until there's the whistle. We've landed right here in Keystone. You have 4 people. This is the middle train car. It's the 3 ahead. Or you can come in, so we have the right-hand side. So please have a seat, because we're ready to go. Okay. Everybody is sitting down. Ready? The little ones, yep. Okay. Ready. 2 handbrakes have been holding our train cars here when been stopped. Uncoupled from our engine. So once we start moving, I do like you to pretend like you're super glued stuck in your seat. If you need help with anything, you can ask Thomas, Joe, or our concession sellers, Nadia and Madison. They have red caps on, railroad bibs, easy to spot. So if you need help with anything, ask them. Here we go. They're going to come through and gather our tickets.
I was worried about the garbage can will fall down. Oh yeah, I saw
As the train pulls out of the station, look around at the granite peaks and thick ponderosa forests that surround you. Although the Black Hills were supposed to be the protected territory of the Lakota and Cheyenne Indians, off limits to white settlers, an army on Custer turned up gold a few miles south of here in 1874. Within months, there were thousands of miners, muleskins, mappers, gunslingers, and gamblers swarming across the landscape, eager to get their hands on some of the shiny yellow metal. The community of Keystone, like many towns in the Black Hills, was originally founded to serve these ambitious prospectors. Keystone lies very near the geographical center of the Black Hills. The Black Hills regions cover over 2 million acres, an area roughly the size of Delaware. Half of that is the Black Hills National Forest, the first national forest in the United States. The entire mountain range spans about 120 miles, from the southern tip to the north and about 60 miles east to west. Gold mining camps dotted the sides of this gulch as early as 1875, although Keystone wasn't founded until the turn of the century. Today, Keystone is filled with hotels, restaurants, museums, and gift shops that entice travelers on their way to Mount Rushmore National Memorial, located just a few miles away. As we leave Keystone and enter the Blackhills National Forest, note the markers that line the tracks along our journey. The black and white markers are milepost signs, and the red and black markers indicate a point of interest.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
They are gathering up tickets. Once the tickets have been gathered, our concession sellers, Nadia and Madison, will come through. See if they can offer you any snacks. They can tell you what they have, how much it is. Now we do go uphill from Keystone to the top of Tin Mill Hill. We go up an elevation about 8 feet. My microphone keeps going in and out. Try to catch up. But we did see wildlife on our ride down from Rose City. We saw deer. I'm not sure if anybody saw any little ones, but they are having their babies. Didn't see any turkeys, but somebody might have. Woodchuck, geese, ducks, they're all having their little ones. So if you see them, you don't watch the babies. And if you do get to see something, anything, point it out to the folks right around you so they can see it also. These are wild animals. We never know exactly where they're going to be. They're wild. I'm talking from the middle train cars. They don't normally point them out. Half of you would miss them anyway. And I did chatter a lot on the way down. It's easier to hear because the engine's not working quite so hard uphill. So folks who just got on, welcome aboard. We'll have more of a narration on the way back to Keystone. But I'll point out a few things as we go along. You guys sit back. Really good. Like I said, if you need help with anything, don't hesitate to ask. We're happy to help you.
Caused by more than 1 million metric tons of water falling on the Blackhills the 1972 homes and businesses built along area streets and death floods in American history. Water washed away all the tracks at this point back into Keystone proper. Off to your left, in the shadow of 5,500-foot old Baldy Mountain, is the community of Blackhills Beach. It was once a company town for the workers in a big feldspar quarry. It's now a group of summer homes.
This last one, as you just heard, the 1, 2, and the 2 little one, that was a running brake test. Brakes are good to go. Can't do that until we're moving. We're moving. Now, folks who just got on Keystone, until 2001, you would have driven right up here where we are right now. This is Keystone Junction. After the flood of 1972, this is as far as the track went, because this is as far as Burlington Northern rebuilt it after that flood. What was here back then? Well, there was an old wood building and a couple potty boxes. That's it. I do think this new diesel building is a little bit nicer.
Welcome.
going to notice folks waving at you wherever they're at. Crossing, they're home, wherever. People love to wave at the choo-choo, so if you see someone waving, right back at them, please. We're very friendly train here. Now, pretty quick on the right-hand side, we go by the campground called Camp. Sometimes we do have folks waiting there. By the way, that's especially the little ones. This train trail is about as close as we're going to get to Mount Rushmore on our first ride. Because Mount Rushmore is about 1 mile to the left of us, over the hills, through the trees. If we could see it even over the hills and through the trees, what would we see? The back of Mount Rushmore, facing away from us. Oh no, the back of it does not look anything like the postcards and pictures. During this time, our firemen gets the flues of the engine. No, he doesn't have a discharger. What he does is he puts white sand right in the firebox. The sand goes around through the flue on top of stack of black. So you'll probably see a couple of big black clouds of smoke and sand come out of that stack, which you're seeing on the right-hand side. So we do that. On the right-hand side, you see the active waterfall. single-pedal rows. These feel things are hot single-pedal rows. If you're out in the open parts of it, and you can smell them. They're very fragrant. So single-pedal rows. A lot of them moving right now. One more party. So we get to the pleasant open meadow. Pleasant open meadow. It is all of that. Pleasant open meadow. And there's no whistling for a little bit. As we go along pretty soon on the left-hand side, you're going to see Elkhorn Mountain. 6,200 foot. Then you can see the rock mountain in the air. It does take the shape of an elk antler. Why they call it Elkhorn, I'm not sure. Over there to the right. On the right, you see how these rocks in the yard. The big entry is into number 5. It is an oil-fired steam. All of these steam engines are oil-fired. So that's actually and they're converted, so we can use it on this line. Not a lot of the Blackhills, but back in the 1930s, we started fires. So we used to steam the burn in a lot of waste that was oil. To the right, that the little can or brown house, look at the garage. The car is very sturdy. Also on the right, there's a bigger can house. The hillside behind it, there's 3 lines there from the line. One at the top, look at the 3 lines. One halfway down, and one at the bottom. And now check the box to the top about the cars you're riding in. If you're not sure what car you're riding in, look by the doorway.
And 143 are respectively named Edward Gillette, Orville, Keystone, and Addie Finn. The American Car Company built these cars for the Oregon Electric Railway in 1913. Later the cars were sold to the Great Eastern Railway in British Columbia. The Blackhills Central purchased these cars from the Locomotives South Dakota Sunset Steam Railroad in the mid-1970s. Cars 125 Dublin, Keystone, and Locomotives have been completely restored by the staff of the Blackhills Central Railroad. Make sure you peek inside. Car 144, Red Corner, was originally built as a baggage car. The Oregon Electric Railway converted it to a passenger coach in 1915. It was modified as an observation coach for the Blackhills Central in 1998. First 140, Mystic, was also rebuilt as an observation car in 1999. Car 91, Logical, started out as a Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy car to carry ice and water for tractors. It now provides a comfortable ride for 52 passengers. Coach number 10800, Hillview, is one of the most interesting cars used by the Chicago and Northwestern Railway. It was called a Grover's Way car. Drivers and stock owners for the company that had over in business to market.
Now if you're in the Honey Canyon car, you were caboose, and when they went to restore you, turning it into that nice open air car with those unique wooden seats. Bluebirds were a flat car that put a roof on you. Nice on interior, big windows, cushy seats, turned you into that nice passenger car. We're just about at the end of the meadow. We have a curve to the right. Cross the road again. Curve to the left. And we're going to go up a 4% grade on our way to oblivion. running a standard gauge equipment, which is what we're traveling on, and the ride went right on into Keystone. They did haul ore out of Keystone, so the tracks were abandoned. As they come on down into the cross over Palmer Creek, over on the right-hand side, you see the white farmhouse. Across the road from it, there's a Ford building. Concrete footings coming off this way towards the track. That's the site of the Good Luck Tungsten Mine. Now, normally to the left, as your train car crosses the road, we see Harney Peak. Let's see if the fog's lifted. No, I don't think so, but we'll see.
The view to your left is dominated by Harney Peak, a large mountain with a stone fire lookout on the top. 7,242 feet. Harney Peak is the highest point in the Black Hills and the tallest mountain in North America east of the Rockies. The whole Black Hills are only 130 miles away from the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains. They are a completely separate formation. The 2 billion-year-old rocks you see around you are much older than the 20-million-year-old slopes of the Rocky Mountains.
Keep watching, as your train car crosses the road, usually. Oh, top of it is still in the fog.
Flourished during both world wars. Tungsten was used to harden steel. Addie's camp was located at the mouth of the Gulf, which are now leaving. A number of small placer mining operations existed here in 1875, and the ruins of some larger industrial mines dating to the 1930s are found on the northwest ridge, which is to your right.
Built by miners and left by them. To the right of it, you see that doorway going in the hillside? That's the root cellar where they kept their food. That's the guy. Up there where the guy's mowing the grass and the nice new house is for sale. On either side of it, it looks like a road. That's the railroad spur that went to the Addy mine. They would have had rail on that. You can't see the mine, half a mile up the drop, before building closer to the railway on the right to the by miners. Now it's getting louder because it's starting uphill again. train to see the small poles standing straight up crookedy wires hanging down. Telegraph lines put in for communication between Hill City and Keystone. You'll notice some of them still have glass displays on the top. The Keystone car, you walk to the back. If you're an ever to left, you walk to the front of the car.
All right, hope you guys enjoyed that little train ride. It was very chilly on there. let's head off and see where we're going to end up next.